Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, or welcome to our channel if you're watching this for the first time. Today I want to talk about a topic that I get asked, I think, the most frequently, and that is about raising sibling dogs. So as many of you know, right now I have a full family pack of the mom Tacoma, the dad David, and the 5 siblings, which are littermates, of course. Goliath, Esther, Ruthie, Samson, and Solomon. And before that, I had 2 Great Pyrenees sisters that were littermates, and their names were Coda and Kira, and they lived into teenage years. So I do have some experience with raising siblings, and today I just wanted to talk about my experiences and what I think works really well and what I think about some of the topics out there, such as littermate syndrome and having dogs of the same gender, having multiple dogs of the same gender. And this has been such a hot topic. I didn't even realize when I got Coda and Kira, my first 2 littermates, until I was on a couple dog groups, and boy, the fighting and bullying that went on. If you even mentioned that you had 2 dogs littermates, or if you had the same gender, it was awful. So hopefully today we could talk about it, and maybe it'll even encourage someone, or maybe you'll get something out of it that will help you. What are we gonna do? Well, Coda and Kira came into my life when they were 8 weeks old. I had just got alpacas, and of course I read how great Pyrenees can be as livestock guardians. So I went to get one puppy that day and drove to get one puppy, and looking back at me in the back of a truck where we met to that I was supposed to buy this puppy from the owner, from the breeder, was looking back at me, 2 puppies, and they said there were only 2 in the litter. Which one would you like? And 2 absolutely adorable puppies were looking back at me. Kira was kind of like cowering in the corner, a little bit scared. Coda was more outgoing and a little bit bigger. And there was no way I could decide, so I just said, I'll just buy both of them. I came back with both of them. And they lived into teenage years together without any problems, without fighting. There were a couple scuffles, I would call them scuffles, never drawing blood or never any issue, just establishing a little bit of dominancy. Sometimes they played together, guarded together, ate together, slept where they want, sometimes together, sometimes apart. They had no problem being apart from each other if we wanted to take one for a walk, and they kept our place predator-free their entire lives. Then as Coda and Kira were in their senior years, they were getting older. I think they were around 8 years old. I had Tacoma, an Akbash puppy. So Tacoma joined our little pack as an 8-week-old puppy, and Kira did not like Tacoma at all, enough that she had attacked Tacoma, and I believe Coda helped save Tacoma's life, and it was serious enough that I kept them separated for the safety of Tacoma. I kept Kira separated from Tacoma for a couple of years. Coda took over being Tacoma's mom, and they got along wonderful. So there was a lot of effort there, keeping them separated, and I hope this encourages somebody that might be in a similar situation where you have 2 dogs that you are committed to and you love them and you don't want to rehome them. I chose to not do that, and that situation changed. Okay, it wasn't a permanent situation. When I added David, and now we became a dog family of 4, I also kept him away from Kira. And so this involved shuffling lots of dogs because you wanted Tacoma and David to be together a lot, and you want Kira and Coda to have time together. And of course, Coda and Tacoma got along great. So in a little trailer, double-wide trailer home, yes, that involved some effort. But there was a point as David kept growing and growing and growing, and I added him as an 8-week-old puppy also. He ended up being 180 pounds. But when he was, over 100 pounds, I felt confident enough that Kira was not going to mess around with Tacoma because David admired Tacoma. Tacoma raised him. And so I decided I think all 4 dogs can be together. And I was correct. So David became a father at 9 months. So this did not take too long. He bred with Tacoma at 9 months. Then by 1 year, he was the father of Esther, Goliath, Samson, Solomon, and Ruthie. And so now our pack had grown to a pack of 9. I really didn't think that Great Pyrenees that Coda and Kira were going to live to be as old as they did. That's why I thought, let's get this pack growing. That's why I added Tacoma when I did and added David when I did. Because I didn't want Tacoma to be the only guardian. I think they work better, more than one, especially if they ever do confront a predator. So I was very wrong because thankfully it was wonderful. Coda and Kira lived to be almost 14. And they died within, I think it was 6 months of each other. All right, so that was my first experience with raising littermates. And so I'll put my opinion out there on the littermate syndrome theory, is that littermates should not be raised together because, or you could, if you do, you could have many problems with they don't bond to their human, they don't do their job right because they need to be together so much, and they panic maybe if they're not together. I did not find that to be true, not at all. They did a wonderful job. They could be together, they could be separated. It was not a problem. And the other opinion I have is on should you have same-sex dogs. Well, there's no right or wrong answer, but I'm going to say my experience, it has not been a problem at all. And a lot of people will say, especially females, intact females that are non-spayed, you can't have 2. Well, I choose to keep all of my females not spayed. They are not altered. I get the boys neutered because we have both sexes, and I don't want puppies, unwanted puppies. So, for a lot of reasons, it's just how I choose to do it. I feel like the neutering procedure is less invasive, and I do think dogs are meant to be a certain way, and I think there are benefits to keeping them, the females, not spayed, and they don't have problems. Well, as my vet said, my Great Pyrenees didn't have any bowel problems or anything with urinating when they shouldn't be, maybe inside when they're older, because I did keep the hormones in place and they were not spayed. So I had up to 5, we're going to get into that, girls at a time unspayed, and there was no problems at all. So I did not have a problem having same-sex genders. And of course I had the boys same sex, and I did not have a problem with that. And if you think about it, there are some people that will say you can never have 2 boys or 2 girls, and that's so silly, because if you think of, let's just say, the dog sledding industry, the dog sledding sport, you need a team of like 16. I think now it's 14 for the Iditarod, and you couldn't even put a team together because after you had 2 dogs, your male and your female, there's no other genders, so you wouldn't even be able to put a team together. And I've met more friends that have raised siblings, and we've become best friends over many years from getting off groups that didn't let you even talk about having siblings. And again, my opinion, I think it's really a shame, really sad, and too bad in rescue organizations when you have somebody that wants to adopt siblings. And a lot of times these puppies, or maybe grown dogs, siblings, have been together and through a lot of crap in their life. And that's all they have is each other, and they love each other, and they're bonded to each other, and they won't allow them to be adopted to someone that willingly wants them both. I think that's really too bad, because animals are going to form attachments. They're going to form attachments to other animals that they're not related to. At my place, I see interspecies friendships that are very strong. And so if I was going to go around and say, oh, you 2 can't be together too much, you love each other too much, you're getting too attached, I just think that's baloney. I mean, that's what life's about. With littermate syndrome, I think if you had two dogs that are so afraid to be apart, I would question why and help to build up their confidence and love them so that they didn't have to be afraid to be separated for a little while from their best friend, from their littermate. So for a couple of years, we were a pack of 9 with 2 sets of siblings. We had Coda and Kira, the Great Pyrenees sisters, and then we had the 5 pups of Tacoma and David that were siblings and littermates. And if there was another 2 dogs that didn't like each other, it would be David and Coda had a little rift where at times, and that was only when they were in the house at certain places that they established as their territory. There was a small rift, but there weren't any fights or anything like that. And again, they are not related. So my experience, I have not had 2 dogs that are littermates or siblings not get along. But I have had 2 dogs that maybe just don't really care for each other in a way that probably has to do with boundaries in their territory. There was a little place in the house where Coda liked to sleep, and she would like to go a certain way to it, and she would kind of growl on her way to it, and David didn't like that. So the way I handled that was you would just kind of stand there when you let her in and go, let her go by. And that was that. It really was not a big deal. And again, they were not related. And they were not the same gender. So someone couldn't say, oh, well, you had 2 alpha females, or you had 2 alpha males or 2 unneutered males. That's why. No, I had a female and a male that were unrelated, and they didn't get along in a certain situation. That was it. Outside, they were fine. And for those of you that follow me on social media or on this channel, you know that my guardians have 24/7 access to wherever they want to be. Outside, inside, they just know where to be. They have access to laying on the bed, on the couches. The only place they don't have access is at night. I like to bring everyone closer in, including the livestock, that's the alpacas, into the night pen. So I don't keep them out in the big fields. Just for their safety, I like everyone to come in tight at night. So when Coda and Kira passed away for, the last few years, it was a few years ago, the last few years we've been a dog family of 7, and this is like the dream team. I mean, I couldn't not dream up a better pack of livestock guardian dogs, a better pack of family dogs, a better friends in my life. They are just amazing, and they all get along. They play together, they sleep together, they eat together, they are silly together, they guard together. We've had neighbors lose livestock to bears, and a bear very close, and ours pack kept everyone safe. We live in mountain lion country. We have coyotes and wolves are in the area, and stray dogs. And this pack, they are so serious, especially at night, and they can be so playful too. They truly are the dream team. So would this dream team get along and be best friends and be amazing guardians if I was not a factor at all in their life? I don't know. But I'll talk about some things that I do that hopefully add to the happiness and add to the calmness and add to the peace here. One of the biggest things that I do is I love these dogs. I love each one so much. I honestly, truthfully, do not have a favorite dog. If I had to choose a favorite dog, it would be the one that was in front of me at that moment, the one that has its head on my shoulder, the one that I'm running with, the one that I'm playing with, the one that I'm talking to at that moment. And it's because I love them all. So there isn't any jealousy. I've never seen a jealousy here. And I can't imagine if I did favor a dog and loved one more than the other, what it would be like. Because you can't fool dogs. They would pick up on that. So I think it helps that I love them. I love them as individuals, and I treat them as individuals. We have special moments. Each dog and my relationship with that dog is so unique and so special. And I just cherish those times and those things that I do with those specific individuals. And I do believe that spending individual time and treating them as individuals and saying their name so many times throughout the day, their individual names, when I'm hugging them or telling them what a great job they're doing or joking with them, I think that helps a lot to not just keep the peace. That's like the lowest level, I would think. Well, I'm keeping the peace. There's no fights. But to have everyone enjoy each other's company and love each other, I think, yes, it does help to spend individual time with them and treat them as the unique, amazing individuals that they are. So if you're watching this and would like any advice or encouragement, I just encourage you to do the same thing. Like if you have a pack, treat them all as individuals. So let me tell you a little bit. Oh, it's going to be hard to tell you a little bit and not make this a 3-hour video about each one and how they are so different. Okay, so David, he is like my mom. He's like a mama's boy.
David, you want to go up with mommy? Yeah.
He's 180 pounds, and he's very protective of his family, and he doesn't like pet by anybody else besides Maria or I, but he's so cuddly and so sweet with me, and we communicate without words. Like, there's times I'll just look like, he might want to come in at 5 a.m. and he'll just know, I better not come in yet because Mom asked me to stay out a little bit longer because we have the Krias are out and I'm the only one out. So we communicate so well, my big baby boy, David, and he is my smiley one, and he uses his teeth to smile. But one thing about David is he loves to go places with me in the truck and with Maria.
David, you want to go in the truck with me and go to town? Would you like that?
So I take him places, and it's not because I'm favoring him, it's because he loves the truck the most and loves going places the most. So that's why he goes to town with us the most, and that's his special time with me. And David, I should mention, is half Great Pyrenees and half Akbash. So let's talk about the full Akbash. And I'm going in no particular order here. Tacoma is actually, if we're going in order of seniority, who's oldest, I would have started with Tacoma. Tacoma is full Akbash, and I cannot even put into words how smart, how intuitive, how silly Tacoma is. She is my mind reader. She has done the most amazing things just by picking up on what I'm thinking. She would stand at the door with a Bible case one time when I'm looking for it on the way to church. She's had my reading glasses in her mouth when I know I am writing too much at the computer on a freelance writing job, and I'll walk away and come back like, where are my glasses? She'll be sitting there across the room just looking at me like, come on, Mom, you can't keep working this long at the computer. She has the bear tracker. When we had a bear issue, she tracked the bear to the kill. I took her on a leash to the neighbor's farm, and I said, that's where you're missing livestock. The bear went right here. She has a nose that's just unbelievable for smelling. So I communicate with Tacoma a lot. I play with Tacoma a lot. I've taken her to 5K races. She's won every doggy dash that she has entered in this area. And I jump rope with Tacoma. And most importantly, I listen to Tacoma, and I never doubt what she says is true. And one thing is, she doesn't like to be on the gang line for dog sledding, and she has told me that. So when we do go dog sledding with all 7, like to get a Christmas tree, she likes to be next to me, like on a leash. And I keep them on leashes or on the gang line when off property. So yeah, that's Tacoma. So next we'll get into, since this is about siblings, their kids. Let's talk about the siblings and how unique each one is. I'll start with Esther, and Esther is 75% Akbash and 25% Great Pyrenees. And I'll start with her because I like to say she's the oldest of the siblings because she was born first. And she was born into my arms, right into my hands. And she came out barking before her full body was emerged. She could bark. Esther is, oh my, silly, the silly one,
Esther.
the joyful one. They all are happy, but Esther inherited from her dad the smile. She does the full teeth grin, and I just cherish that. And I will talk to her in certain ways just to get that smile because I love her smile. So some of the things I do with Esther is I like to open the window in the mornings and just say good morning because I know she loves that and she's going to come over and smile.
What is going on? You want breakfast? Do you want me to go cook you some eggs for breakfast? Okay.
Esther is also extremely serious when it comes to protecting her family, and I think she is so beautiful, and I tell her that all the time. And she looks the most like Tacoma with that streamlined body. Next, I'll talk about Esther's only sister, which is Ruthie, and Ruthie was last born, and she is the smallest, so we call her the youngest and the baby of the family. And Ruthie and I just have a lot of moments in the day that are just special between her and I. Like, Ruthie likes to eat out of my hand for breakfast in most dinners, almost all breakfasts is. So I'll put the breakfast out and everyone eats in a certain spot, and Ruthie waits for me to feed her breakfast. And I just think that is so special. And so I do that with her. And Ruthie will stay out pretty much almost all summer, not continuously, but I mean like at nighttime. And she likes to guard a lot at night in the summer. And then around October, she'll come back in, and at night she sleeps right on my pillow. So I call her my little pillow pet. And she is the most afraid of the vet. So when we go to the vet, I need to give a shot if Ruthie gets a shot. And I don't know why they're all just unique like that. The other ones have no fear of going to the vet. So Ruthie and I just spend a lot of cuddly time together and a lot of time talking together. Like, each time at breakfast, she gets me to stop what I'm doing in my routine and slow down. And that's just one thing about Ruthie. She's also, after Tacoma, the fastest, I think, in our pack. Next, I'll talk about Solomon, and I like to call him the fluffy puppy, and I also call him Sol a lot, or Salamander. And Solomon has his eye on me pretty much all day, and he is my escort. So if I'm going somewhere, he'll wait for me to do evening chores. He'll just wait, and he escorts me whenever I go, pretty much anywhere. So one thing, and he's also very cuddly. If he's not on outside duty, he will be sleeping on my pillow. A lot of them can fit on my pillow, and they lean against my body. Solomon is, if I had to guess his best friend, I would say it's definitely his brother Samson. So if I'm camping out outside with the pack, I'll have Solomon on one side of me, and I'm sandwiched in between Solomon and Samson on my other. And one thing I do special with Solomon is I ask him the most if he would like to help to go mail a package, which sometimes can be every day. And he loves that. I just have to whisper, I have a package to mail, and he's at the door waiting for me to go mail the package. Okay, so next I'll talk about Samson. And I also call him Sam I Am and Sammy Son and Sam. And Samson loves to sit on my lap. Anytime I sit down, he will run and he'll start turning before he's a few feet from me so he can land on my lap. And I call him my cuddle bear because he is extremely cuddly. He likes to put his face right next to my face. And he is the littlest of the males dogs. So I call him and Ruthie the littles. And those two are together a lot also. Samson really loves his brother Solomon and really loves his little sister Ruthie. And one thing special I do with Samson is I've taken him places where he can work in like a therapeutic kind of setting. He's had people crying. One time at Home Depot, a man said, "Could I pet an older man? Could I pet your dog?" And I said, "Sure." And Samson, he just like leaned into him, and the man started crying, and he got down on his hands and knees, and then he said, "Thank you so much." And there was like an exchange that took place there that was some kind of healing therapeutic exchange. So I know Samson has that ability to bring that out in people. So that is why I've taken Samson places like to a local, just recently about a month ago, to a local assisted living facility. And we also took, Maria and I took some ducklings, and we took Samson. And later I sent a video to my friend, because it was my friend's dad. And she said, "Oh my goodness, my dad has neglected his right hand since his stroke, yet he's petting Samson with his right hand." So that's what I do with Samson that's unique and special, is I take him to places like that where he can meet people and help people. And last but certainly not least is Goliath. Goliath is like 3 dogs in one, and I truly mean that. He has so much to say, so many inner feelings, like 3 dogs were packed into one body. And Goliath was born with severe hip dysplasia that was diagnosed at around 9 months, and I've taken him to a specialist, and out-of-state specialist, and I was told he'll just get worse, and he's never going to be able to walk or run. And he is the one that runs the fastest. He is the most active when it comes to a perceived threat in the field. He is more sensitive to things like that could be a threat, whether it's a hawk that flew just a little too low, or an airplane that's flying a little too low, or someone walking a dog a little too close to our fence line. And Goliath is just on it, and he's out racing and barking. And he is also my talker and my singer. He sings like a wolf. He talks to me like a person. He uses words that sound like mama. Okay. It's time for mash cakes. Okay. What are you doing? And yeah, Goliath. I can't say enough about his soul. The soul of Goliath is just amazing. Goliath is also the one that likes to bring me packages when they're delivered to the gate. And just one of the things special that I do with Goliath is I let him get his way more than I do the other dogs, in a way, because I really trust his intuition. And like, it could be 10 p.m. and he'll go to the front door and say, "I need to get out in the front yard." And I don't let them in the front yard like when it's time for bed, even though we're fenced. But if Goliath asks, I let him go. And maybe that's some of it is my soft spot for Goliath and what he went through as a puppy with his hip dysplasia. But he knows I'm going to listen to him a little bit more, and I'm going to let him do a few things more, because he just 110% believes it needs to be done. So yeah, and Goliath and I may have the most good morning time, because he's my growly puppy, and I just love how he growls. Good morning. There it goes. So I'm going to end this video by just showing some of the team building exercises that we do every day. And one of them is to get on the tire on the way down from chores. And when we get gifts at the gate, I always say their individual names. it just comes natural to do that. And I did have somebody say, wow, I never thought of using their individual names. And to me, it just comes so natural to do that. And I just encourage you to definitely always use their names. They know their name and they love their name, and it comes in handy if you have to call them, because this pack does listen. I never understand when people say Great Pyrenees or Akbash don't listen. Boy, they listen so acutely and so acutely that you barely have to say their name and they're coming. And I think it's because I am part of their pack and I listen to them. So listen to your dogs, treat them as individuals, as the individuals that they are, and just love them and have fun with them. And so we're going to end this with our team building time. And thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, it sure helps us to subscribe. If you'd like more content, please join our Patreon. I'll put that in the description. That's another social media platform. And I try to post a video almost every day, depending on which tier that you choose on there. If you need any alpaca gifts, check out our store at bhmalpacas.com. We have all kinds of things like socks, mittens, hats, gloves. If you'd like something made from your dog's naturally shed hair, my daughter and I can make you a scarf or a hat or yarn. So check out our store, and thank you for watching. We'll end with some team building here.
Tacoma. Come on, Samson. Come on, let's get 4. Oh, come on up, Saul. Come on, we got 5. Come on, come on. 5. We got 5. And go. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Get up there. There she goes. Tire all the way. Ready? Let's go. Samson. Tacoma. Haha. Saul. Good one. Tacoma. David. Esther. Ruthie. Yes. Go ahead. Tacoma, shake. Good girl. Go ahead, shake. Good boy. Saul, shake. Esther, shake. Good job. Ruthie, shake. Good job. Tacoma, shake. Good job. David, shake. Good job. Tacoma, shake. Ruthie, sit. Ruthie, shake. Oh, shake. You get excited. Saul, sit. Saul, shake. So fast. Go ahead, shake. Shake. Good boy. Esther, sit. Good girl, shake. Good girl. Everybody shake. There we go.